Claiming your 20s is one of the simplest, yet most transformative things you can do for work, for love, for your happiness, maybe even for the world. This is not my opinion. These are the facts.
Hello, and welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Iyidolls. She's grown, she's sexy, she's everything, okay? Well, today I just want to talk to us about claiming our 20s. I really wanted to outline what claiming your 20s could look like, right? And learning to forgive yourself through your 20s. You're gonna make a ton of mistakes. I did make some mistakes, but I learned to forgive myself along the way. And I also really made some great decisions that really helped propel me into some of the opportunities that I do have today. I feel like this video will be helpful for all, whether you're in your early 20s, your mid 20s, or you're way past your 20s. There's always something to learn, honey. One of the first aspects that I want to look at would be within my career. When I finished school, I really wanted to spend the first few years of my life, my 20s anyways, really identifying what area in HR I wanted to specialize in. My career was so absolute and important for me right after school, even right before I finished school. It was just something that I really knew I needed to be intentional with. I knew that I wanted to do HR right after school, but I did not know which aspect are. But one thing that I was very certain is I didn't want to stay in just recruiting. I wanted to diversify my portfolio, you know, so whenever I landed in one school within HR, I would love that school. And so my early 20s was really about taking different positions that gave me that exposure to different aspects of HR. It almost felt like I was on a grad rotational program, like I was switching positions because I needed to absolutely taste and feel all of the aspects of HR, because I was not going to make a decision blind. I was absolutely not going to do that. And one thing we should all know is that the first 10 years of our career are great predictors of where we're gonna be for the rest of our lives, or how much money we can make for the rest of our lives. That's something to keep in mind, okay? And so I didn't want to really waste the first few years where I was in such an expository phase anyways, where I was learning about myself, learning about what I liked, where I was also you know, changing my personality from time to time, because I was trying to shake and create this brand that would work for me, not just to the outside world, but also for me. And so that's why for my career, I really gave myself that opportunity to try different things, and it paid off really great, because in doing that, that also helped develop that risk taker that I am right now. Because I just thought, hey, what's the worst that could happen? You know, when you're a kid, I would say you tend to take more risks. You think less about what the negative repercussions could be, and only focus and zoom in on just what the positive could look like. Life really does begin at the edge of your comfort zone, okay? I just want to say that, guys. The next thing I want to focus on is risk taken. Now in my mid-20s, I would say that I do take more risks than I did in my early 20s, which is kind of crazy, but when I think about it, it makes sense, because I set that precedent for myself. And so your girl is really taking risks as she goes along in our life, which is good, because you keep things exciting, you keep things fun for yourself, which, child, we need it in this pandemic especially, excuse you. But the difference, I would say, is that now the risks I take, you guys, I cannot for the life of me pronounce risks. That's how I pronounce it. But the risks I take right now are very calculated. I'm constantly weighing the pros and the cons, and I'm also really giving breath to the child in me, because what I found in, I think it was when I turned 25, I found that life became boring for me. I was just living, doing the same thing, waking up, either working out or not working out, going to work, sleeping, waking up. it just became so repetitive, and I didn't really feel like I was taking risks. And so when I started, paying attention to people who were excited in life, a lot of them were really talking about giving attention to that child within you. And why that is really important is because if you think back to when you were a child, right? Think back to some of the crazy imaginations you had. You were not necessarily trying to constrain yourself with like, what if it doesn't work? Or your fear wasn't really your main focus when you were thinking.
When I grow up, I want to be a fireman. Iron I could save everybody.
You're just allowing yourself to dream. So right now, that's what I do. I allow myself to dream a lot, and then I weigh the pros and the cons, and I use that method to chase after whatever I really want. For example, my sister and I, we do have a styling business together. Initially, styling started as just something to do. I was like, hey, I love fashion, let's start styling. But like when I think of some of the contracts we've gotten, and even some of the contracts that we're getting this new year, it blows my mind. I'm like, whoa, 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 relax. It initially just started off as, hey, let me try it. And literally every contract that we do get, during the intake calls, I'm like, and my sister, both of us are like, how are we going to bring this to life? That legit our heads are at, just to keep it 100. But we believe so much in ourselves, and we believe so much in the finished product that we just keep pushing. We just keep pushing and miss the fear. We just keep pushing. And literally every styling contract we've gotten has been so different and so unique and peculiar to that person. So it's not easy, is what I'm trying to say. It's not easy to conceptualize, but hey, at the end of the day, we end up putting it together, and it's just really shocking, how so many doors have opened for us. So I would encourage, in your mid-20s, if you're struggling with taking risks, or if you're in your late 20s or your early 20s, if at any point, wherever you are right now, struggling with taking risks, I would encourage you to just allow yourself to dream. Don't worry too much about what if it wouldn't work. Don't let those limiting negative self-talk defeat you. Just start gradually. Put your pen to paper, put some pep in your step, girl, and keep going. So speaking of negative self-talk, let's talk about forgiving ourselves. Ooh. First of all, my self-awareness, self-management was so lacking. And so it was very hard for me to really be intentional with this. I never even wanted to spend time with myself because I wasn't self-aware enough to realize that what was hindering me from spending time with myself was the negative self-talk. One of the things I started in my early 20s, which is I took a risk starting, was my YouTube, but I wasn't consistent. I also wasn't putting a lot of effort, to be very honest with myself. But child, the negative self-talk, that was part of the reasons I even stopped for a long time, y'all. I was just like, girl, why are you so mean to yourself? Why are you so mean? Now, I'm a lot better. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I'm doing such a great job. One of the things that I've learned when it comes to forgiving myself and also really just minimizing those negative self-talk would be really asking yourself, hey, would you say the same thing to a friend when they come for advice? Or if let's flip the situation around, if your friend was going through this, how would you talk to them? So that's really helped me minimize those negative self-talk, and really showing compassion to myself is very, very important. And also really understanding some of my behaviors has helped me really when it comes to forgiving myself. For example, when I'm nervous, I talk a lot and I tend to not think about what I'm saying, and so I probably would say some really ridiculous things that when I leave that environment, I'm going to go home and start thinking about and hating myself. Now I understand when I'm nervous, I talk a lot. So in spaces where I find myself talking a lot, I try and coax myself and just tell myself to ease up and pay attention to some of my body language to help release that tension. We've all made mistakes in the past, but we need to like move on from those mistakes. We need to pick the lessons and just go on our life's journey, okay? We're not going to be perfect. Perfection is a myth. Dating in my early 20s, let me just say this. I was not the best. I dated people because I never really understood my worth. Because again, your girl never liked spending time with herself. And so when I think of a lot of situations I was in, I really shouldn't have been in. I placed my worth on the wrong people and things. And I sought validation from the wrong people instead of internally. Now, girl, it's different. I'm not gonna date you because you want me. If I don't want you, there's no reason. Why am I here? Why am I here? If I don't want you to, why am I here? What are we doing? Is this a joke, honey? Also, I date for the future now. Like, I want to be with someone that I can potentially see myself with for a long time. So that means I'm more present in the situation. Even in terms of the people I attract now, back then it was just a mess. I was like, come on. At some point, I got to a point where I was just like, I cannot just be attracting hoodlums. What is going on? Things were just looking very weird. And now, even when I pay attention to the types of people, you know, my pool and the types of people I attract now, I'm happier. I'll say that much. And it shows me that I've done a lot of work on myself. I've learned to spend time with myself. I've learned to love myself, and I also know what value is and where to place value. So in summary, my early 20s was really a self-discovery phase. Finding myself, discovering what I love and what I didn't love, what I enjoyed, what personality I wanted to keep to, you know, create this brand that I am now. After doing a lot of that work, I'm really comfortable in who I am. I'm also consistently developing myself because I still have some shortcomings, okay? I would say I'm forever on this self-discovery, but I'm also really appreciative of what those different experiences brought to my life and what I've been able to pick from those experiences. Your 20s are your foundational years of adulthood, so make it count for yourself. However, don't pay attention to nobody. Don't pay attention to their journey. Pay attention to your journey. Improve daily. It's not about perfection, it's really about progress. So keep going on this journey of self-improvement and just love yourself and give yourself grace through it all. All right, we got that. Okay, bet. See y'all.